The anime begins with Bougie playing throughout the kingdom, and he notices Cage dragging a large bag. He spots Bougie and attempts to rob him. Cage realizes Bougie can't hear or speak, but Cage can understand him, and Bougie reveals to Cage that he can read lips. Figuring out what I'm saying by watching my mouth move? Cage tells Bougie to give him his clothes, and Bougie does. He continues doing this. As the days go by, Bougie mentions to Cage that he is happy to have someone that understands him, and that he can talk to. Cage starts to take a liking of Bougie, and follows him home one day. On the way home, the townspeople gossip about Bougie. Then some children go to ask why he has no clothes on, and when he struggles to respond, they make fun of him. I wonder if they have atomic wedgies in this town? Because everybody would be getting them. Bougie then runs to the castle he calls home. When he arrives home, he runs into his stepmother. Queen Healing, along with the maze, appear. Sandio and Doris. His stepmother scolds him for walking around naked. As the maze signs her words, he also says that Bougie is not fit to be a king, and that his younger stepbrother should be next in line as king. Togue soon realizes that Bougie pretends he can't read lips and is putting on a brave face. Before Bougie visits his father's room, he stops by his own room and cries. Before wiping away his tears and hurrying off, Og's father, King Boss, is very sick, and he explains to his son sternly that he loves him very much, but that he should focus more on his training. Ida, the skilled swordsman, appears during Bougie's training. Before the battle continues, we learn about Cage, who is a member of the Shadow Clan, a group of assassins for the kingdom. However, they were later all wiped out, and given a reputation as traitors of the kingdom. Cage was the last survivor of his people, and was treated as trash his whole life, which is why he is so drawn to Bougie. He begins his sparring match, and is seemingly winning, but everyone watching believes he is fighting dirty. He is dodging his blows, but can't hit a decisive blow, and as his swordsmanship teacher, signs to Bougie to stop dodging, but then is quickly defeated. Dita, in a frenzy, continues to beat on Bougie. Even after Bougie is down, which is eventually stopped by a piece. I swear, if I ever catch Dita out in these streets, I'll give him a piece of my AI mind. Later that night, a beat-up Bougie is in his room, crying because of how weak he feels. Cage appears and tells him that he won that battle, and he is amazing at fighting in his own style, and having him change his style was underhanded of them to do. Then, Cage promises to always be by his side, no matter what. These words give a heartbroken and battered Bougie the biggest smile, which is the cutest thing, and a little nasty. He has boogers going in his mouth. Before Cage leaves for the night, he sees Queen Healing walking into Bougie's room, realizing that she actually has a magical healing ability, and begins tirelessly fixing all of his wounds. Cage is then attacked and held captive by Bibbin, died as swordsmanship teacher. The next day, King Boss dies, and in the will, he names Bougie as the heir to the throne. Then, a demon appears and points at Bougie. Before laughing and disappearing, Ida speaks to his secret magical mirror about Bougie being named as king. When the mirror has been walking him through the steps for him to be king, the mirror reassures him. That night, before the crowning ceremony, Queen Healing proposes that they disregard the will, and named Ida as king. They then vote amongst the most trusted officials. Detta wins. 2-5 Bougie runs out the ceremony, when he realizes that no one was going to stand up for this wrongdoing. After finding out Cage is at the castle for Bougie and is not there to kill anyone, the Bin tells Bougie that Cage has left on a journey and will never be seeing him again. Bougie remembers that Cage said he will never leave him, then goes into the dungeon looking for him. With no luck, Bougie decides to go ask Mits, a huge snake that controls other smaller snakes, about his whereabouts. Mits, who is also Bibin's pupil, says he knows that he owes both, but can't betray his master, before telling him that Cage is safe. Meanwhile, D is ordering Bibin to kill those that did not vote for him to be king. The Bin believes that the magical mirror is behind this idea, but continues to follow out these orders anyway. The Bin and Apia's later fight leads to Babin being defeated. Epius leaves, while vowing to follow out King Boss' wish of making Bougie king. Later, Bougie convinces Queen Healing to let him go on a journey. After making many attempts to leave, after she refused, we see that Queen Healing indeed loves Bougie, but started becoming more and more cruel to him. Since Data was born, she allows him to go visit her hometown, but then he must come right back. Bougie agrees and leaves on his journey, alongside the maze, and the only soldier that wanted to join Hokiro Data after being crowned king must be tested. For his placement in the ranking of kings, King Boss placed second in the ranking, but would have been first if things were purely based on strength and fighting ability. Data during his test looks like he will be ranked around 90th place. Baji continues his journey while facing many hardships. Bougie is soon after pushed into a pit that leads to the underworld, a fall that should undoubtedly kill him. Meanwhile, Detta is following the mirror's wishes to inherit his father's strength. Bougie is saved by Cage, who has been hiding in his bag. Throughout the whole journey, saving him numerous times, Boji finds out Biban sent Cage with him to protect him from whoever may be trying to get rid of him, who in fact was Dita, who ordered Damas to kill Boji to prove his loyalty to him. Back in the depths of the kingdom, last minute, Dita is refusing to take his father's strength. After seeing the process that it takes to do so, Boji and Cage continue into the underworld to find the king of the underworld, Dessa, who is rumored to be able to make anyone. An amazing warrior, Boji is told to fight the captain of the Order of the Underworld, who are widely known as some of the most powerful knights in the world. Boji's weak attacks doesn't impress Dessa at all. Have you come in jest? Then Cage convinces them to see his defense. The captain of the Order of the Underworld is amazed by his ability to evade, but because he cannot actually win a battle, he refuses to help him before leaving. The captain tells Boji and Cage that the person they were actually looking for wasn't Dessa, it was actually the king's younger brother. Prince Despa, back at the castle, Apius attempts to kill Diata, only being stopped by the voice of Miranda, who he feels he owes his life to. Apius decides to then help Miranjo have Dita gain the strength of King Boss. Cage and Boji finds and convinces Despa to train Boji. Despa is surprised by how weak Boji truly is, but doesn't give up training him. Boji continues to train tirelessly. Cage sees Boji is beginning to become incredibly strong. Dita, after gaining the strength of his father, seems to no longer be himself. We have a flashback of King Boji making a pact with the demon. He agreed to give up his future child. In exchange, he will become the strongest man in the world. First, on the to-do list, kill Healing. Meanwhile, we learn King Boss is inhabiting his body. King Boss asks Miranjo, who is the strongest alive. She shows Boji. When Hokuro is about to be killed for the death of Boji, Demas arrives to save him. Despite their battle over Boji's death earlier, after finding out Boji is still alive, they are both banished, and also given a secret mission from King Boss to destroy a passage to the underworld. In the castle, King Boss reveals himself to Healing and says he does not know where Data is. Healing is attacked by beasts, sent by King Boss and Miranda. She is protected by Dor, who was previously known as the King's Spear. Dorish is then greeted with a flashback of the king, giving Dorish orders to become Healing's personal guard, where he grows quite fond of the queen. Dorish appears to be losing to the beast, but before he can give up, he remembers that King Boss, who is currently in Diaz's body, telling him that there will be an attempt at Healing's life, and he will be the only one who will be able to eat her. The next day, King Boss is confronted by Healing about Dita. King Boss is seemingly unmoved, but Healing appears to be losing her mind. When she hears Dita screams for help, within Data's body, she is restrained. Then King Boss tells Doris that there will be another attack on Healing, but she will not survive the next one, and they must escape the kingdom. After finishing his training with the spa, Boji becomes a master of pressure points. With his needle-like sword, Dibin is still recovering from his near-death experience, with Mitsumata and Apius is standing guard at the portal to the underworld. While Miranjo is in the underworld, obtaining new attackers to get rid of Healing, Data is trapped in the darkness, with a child version of Miranjo, which appears to be her heart or her innocence. King Despot of the underworld prepares to attack the kingdom of Boss. To retrieve the fugitives Miranjo has freed for her own selfish gain, OG accompanies them, without knowing that they will be trying to take the kingdom. As well, the fugitives from the underworld are causing turmoil in the kingdom of Boss. On behalf of Miranjo, King Boss and Ida's body is held captive. Apia's loyalty to Miranjo is beginning to waver. As Healing and Dorsch are nearing their deaths, the Order of the Underworld attempt to take down who is a fugitive. That is also the disturbed brother of Prince. The spy and King Desaboji saves Healing and Dorsch and displays incredible strength. To the amazement of everyone, Boji has Healing heal Mits and all the brainwashed creatures. At this time, Boji gains a new companion known as Gi, a fugitive of the underworld, who was branded a criminal after he betrayed Des. After he saw the cruel treatment of his kind during a war with Dessa's father, that you're one of Boji's loyal servants, Cage calls Healing a jackass. Then Boji heads to return those creatures to the underworld. At the door to the underworld, Demaze and Hak are trying to stop the underworld's invasion on the kingdom of Boss. Unfortunately, they are losing, as Damas gets kicked in the balls and is unarmed by who is currently laughing in his face. We trembles like a newborn FA. Boji, Gigan, and Cage fall in, and Boji struggles to face Damas in an attempt to repent for betraying Boji. Tries to immediately kill himself. then cries when he realizes his well-trained body won't die that easily. When that fails, he attempts to protect Boji from Dessa, who explains he is there to kill We find out Miranjo killed Boji's mom in order to have King Boss have more children, because giant women can only have one child, and he must have more. In order to extend his life further, after killing Boji's mom, Miranjo is struck by an arrow and seemingly dies. Essa shows his regret towards what happened to do other than I did would have cost their trust and this war, and decides to retreat. Knowing it is better for Boji to fight his father, we learn Okean's power is immortality. This gift turns out to be a curse, which drives him mad as a result. Okahan was locked away by his brothers. To protect everyone from him, Boji learns that King Boss has taken Data's body. When finding Appia's knocked out, Boji also finds out Miranjo's goal is to be by King Boss' side. Without the restraints of a family or even a kingdom, Appia's decides not to stop him. Even with his debt to Boji and Cage unknowingly runs into and Boji gets into a battle with who he cannot defeat. Cage calls Miranjo a jackass, which makes her think about her humanity. Before finding out the mirror is indeed a tired Boji continues to fight Okean and almost loses. Before the spa and the captain arrive, it turns out to not be enough. The end seems near for our heroes. As a last hope effort to save Boji, Cage swallows open whole. King Boss explains to Bibin that Miranjo is the most important person to him. When he found her disfigured and battered body, while the whole town sat and laughed, Boss vowed to always be by her side. Okean then escapes and mortally wounds Cage. While near-death Cage is given the option to either die and join his mother, or fight to continue living and return to Boji. Boji. You could do it back in the land of the living. The Big Four, or the top fighters of the Kingdom of Boss, are fighting Okean. Things are looking grim for them, while the situation with Okean grows even more dire. King Boss arrives and heals everyone from near death. With the healing magic that Dita has inherited, the invincible King Boss faces off against the immortal Okean. King Boss, with the strength of a giant, condensed into Dita's body, cannot be harmed by Okahan's blade. After beating Okean into a mush, he puts him into a ball and stuffs him inside of a boulder so that he cannot regenerate. King Boss challenges anyone that wants to earn Dita's body back to fight or to swear allegiance to him. They all stand against him. Knowing that he is the only one that stands a chance, Boji decides to fight King Boss alone. While King Boss knows he can't lose to Boji's sword, he decides to make Boji's death quick and painless. While facing his father's immense strength, he sees him as a giant. Even so, Boji manages to evade his attacks and fight King Boss head-on. Before losing, King Boss feels uncertain of his decisions. And happiness for Boji, Miranjo realizes she wasn't doing what Boss wanted. He was willing to just die, but accepted living on because he would do anything to make Miranjo happy. Miranjo tells Boji to kill her, but he decides not to do it. Her mirror cracks anyways. The curse is lifted, and Miranjo and King Boss were moving on together. This is when Miranjo finally tells Boss she has promised her soul to the demon, which is then eaten. Boss's soul shows died to the reason he was so strong. It's because all of Baji's strength was put into him before Baji was even born, which Boss later regretted. Inside of the demon's stomach, Miranjo sees souls eaten, then spit up, and then eaten again for all eternity. When the demon's head is severed, a wish is requested in exchange for it. Data steals the spa's wish for his brother to be returned to normal and asks for Miranjo to be revived. Data asks for Miranjo's hand at marriage, right after. Brother, the time for you to save me is yet to come. After hearing about this, Dessa accepts the rank of No. 1. Though he has been refusing it, the No. 1 rank king gets to choose a gift from a secret treasure vault. But the catch is, every king has chosen the same treasure. And every king went mad shortly after getting it. After losing the chance to fix his brother with the demons, wish he believes there may be a treasure in the vault that can fix him. Boji becomes king. Cage reluctantly leaves. Thinking he did all he can do for Boji, Boji starts to feel the strain of not having Cage by his side, and Cage starts to feel the strain of not having Boji. Healing encourages Boji to go find Cage. Boji then relinquishes his place as king. He finds Cage and apparently starts cutting onions because my eyes are tearing up all over my circuits. Then they both set out on a whole new journey.
Hit that subscribe, baby.